Good everyone. Today we're going to talk about a React hook called Use Reducer. And the React hook Use Reducer is used for state management and it's similar to Use State, but it is a little bit more complicated. Um, to be frank or to be honest, I do not truly understand all the use cases where you should use reducer versus where you should use state. But I'm just going to create a very simple example to show you how the use reducer hook would work or should work in an ideal situation. So basically, let's start like this. I already have use reducer imported from React, right? And I'm going to create the reducer function here. So we'll have use reducer, right? And use reducer takes two parameters. The first one is the reducer function. So this first parameter is a function. I'm just going to call that function reducer. So note reducer here is a function. And the second one is typically an object, like something like this, where it has key value pairs, maybe number is equals to like 0, right? And yeah, I think I should use it like this, but I would have loved it to be simpler. But if there's any mistake or any errors, I'll make it simpler by just putting a simple number there. But let's leave it as an object because ideally, most times it's going to be an object. And we're going to store it inside, we're going to use destructuring, array destructuring to store the return, what it will return. The first thing we're going to name it is maybe the number state. And this is what is the actual um constant you actually need to use inside your JSX. And now the second one is a function called dispatch. And dispatch is used to update the function. Sorry, to update the state. So remember in use states. So use states would look something like this. Const maybe number set number, right? If we're using use state, then equals to use states, something like this. Where wherever you put inside number will be equals to the parameter you put for the use state or you imputed inside the use state function. While set number is going to be a function that is used to update the state. But if you are confused about use state, watch some YouTube videos or I have a video on use state. Spoke about it in earlier days of this challenge. So we have a number state, which is so ideally this number state we're going to put it here. But since number state is a function, since number state rather is an object, so this number state is equals to all of this. So number state is a function. So what you now have here will be number state dot maybe dot num, right? To print out as 0. So let me check. Sorry, it is an error. Okay, it says reducer is not defined. But before we get there, let's put on clicks on our button. So we have an on click, and this on click has call it add handler, and inside here there will also be an on click, and here will be subtract, sub handler. Oh, also let's I think I forgot to mention what we're actually trying to create is this counter app where you click one of those buttons. You click one of these buttons. If you click the plus button, the number goes up. If you click the subtract button, number goes up. So if you click this, it goes up. If you click this, it goes down. Click this if you want to, like click it one, two, three. Click so it goes down. We've already done that with use state, but I want to show you the difference between use state and use reducer. As I say, use reducer is a little bit much more complicated, a little bit more complicated, and there's a lot more setup for us to use a distal hook. So we've set this, we created the onclicks, and now let's create the functions. So the first one is const add handler, right? And this is going to be equals to a function. And we're just going to copy and paste. I'm going to change the sub, right? So as I mentioned earlier, this dispatch is a function, and dispatch function is used to update the state, just like in use state. So we'll write dispatch, right? But what I'm going to give inside dispatch is an object, and that the object should take two parameters. The first parameter is the type. So write type, and this is what will tell use reducer hook, which the like, because you can manage multiple states with use reducer as one state. So you can give this dispatch different parameters depending on what you want to do with this state. For instance, I'll explain what that means. So now we have add, right? And we also have to give it something called a payload. So in this case, just put number, and number will be equals to num state. The reason why we give this payload is because, you know what, before then, let me remove this. Before then, let's do it on the second one, that is on sub handler. And here we're going to say sub. So ideally the type is usually a string, but a string with all caps by convention. So now let's talk about this reducer function. The reducer function is ideally not created inside your components. Rather, we're going to create it outside the components. By convention, that's how it's done. Because this reducer function typically does not have anything to do with the actual component, so it's safe to put it outside. So you can put const reducer, right, is equals to a function. Reducer is equals to a function, and inside this function, we can now like update the state basically. So what we can do is this: we can, okay, first of all, this reducer will take two parameters. The first one is state. And if you know anything about state, I always say that state is like a snapshot of what your app looks like. So basically, in our project, the way our app looks with these two buttons and this number in between is its state. So we'll have state and action. So state refers to the last snapshot of React, the last updated snapshot of the state. That was the state, literally the state. Then action refers to whatever is put inside this object, inside this function. So in this case, action is equals to this object here. I don't know if you understand. So state is the last state, updated state of the app, and action is equals to this object inside this function or method. So here we can now check is an if else statement. We can check if action, remember I said action is that object, mean action dot type, if action dot type is equals to, should be equals to add, right? What we can now do, what should we do? Let's return something. So we can return, what should we return? What we return is action, right? Okay, action dot something called a number, right? Plus one. But if you notice, there's no action dot number. So like this would not work because we have to not know what action dot number is. Because since action is equals to this object, sorry, since action is equals to the object inside here, how would React know that this num exists if it is not inside here? No, let's do action dot number. to differentiate it from this norm. So we have this, right? But we have to add in that parameter here. So to be able to add in that parameter here, what we'll now do is create a number, right? And this number, let's set it to norm state. Since norm state is what is put inside here, norm state dot norm, and we know that this norm state is what we want to update. So norm states, just copy and paste it here, right? So we cannot do an else if. So right here, define the condition. I forgot to do that. Let's define the condition. So we're going to copy this and paste it down here. But instead of add, it's going to say sub, which is subtract, right? So we have this. So what we now want to do is exactly what we did there. This return statement. Control C, Control V. But instead of plus, to be minus. So let's check our code if it works. Click on this. Okay, there's a problem. Let's go back to our code and find out what the problem is. So action norm state is okay. Norm state is an object, and this object is not. So what we're supposed to do is action dot number, and action dot number will be equal to norm state. So we action dot number dot norm to tap into that norm state. Let me come again. Action is equals to this object over here, and once tapping to this norm state. So what we did here was action dot number. Well, action dot number is norm state, right? And norm state is equals to this object. So we're not actually getting the zero inside to update it. Because if we check here, we see that norm state is zero. Sorry, norm state dot norm from our code is equals to zero. Norm state dot norm is equals to zero, as you can see there. So since we're having norm state dot norm and zero is true, that means this norm state is equals to this object. So it's norm state dot norm is equals to zero. So what we'll do here, we action the number dot norm, action dot number dot norm. So hopefully this should work. Still doesn't work. Okay, let's go back and look at our code. So what could be the problem? Let's check. If type is equals to CSV action dot number is equals to norm state dot norm plus 1. Let's check our code. Let's click on it. Okay, there's no actual error in the DOM. So what could be our problem? Let's check. Type add number, norm state. No, let's do something. Let's change this entire object right here. No, I don't want to do that. This is typically an object. So let's look at it very well. The error is probably staring us in the face. We can't figure it out. Let's see. We'll say the norm. Okay. So here we have action the number, right? Equals to non state. Non state dot norm to be 0. Okay, let me do something in console.log. So what on console.log is this, just to check it to see what happens. So we go back here, looking at console, let's refresh, click, zero, click, undefined. Actually, the number, this number. I really don't know what the problem is. Okay, let's change this to a number and remove this dot num just to simplify it. I honestly don't know what the issue is. I can't see it, but let's see. Okay, I think this is the problem. Okay, 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 it works now. I honestly don't know what the problem was, but it works now. So what I actually did was just remove the object and just put a plain number. So that action.number, which is non-state, will just be equals to actual number right here. So yeah, that's the use reducer. To be honest, I don't really understand it and how it works, but I'm still in the process of truly understanding it to show how it works. So let's refresh. This works and this works. Okay, so that's the use reducer hook. Like I said, this series of videos are not tutorials per se, they're just I'm just using it to share my journey basically on how I'm document my journey on React, my journey learning React. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.